Welcome back. It's the Kovacs Report, and I got some special, very special, very special guests on the show today. We've got Dave Elliott from Atomeka Press and Chris Northrop from Magnetic Press and Horrible Future, who are bringing back not one, but two legendary comic books in the form of A1 Deadline. Hi, guys. Welcome to the Kovacs Report. How are you going? We good?
Cheers, Anto. Thanks for having us, man.
No,
This
my
is
pleasure.
I really appreciate
Absolutely my
it.
pleasure. It is exciting times, my friends. So, I want to get straight into this because I know everyone's going to be interested. How does it feel? Well, let's describe what is A1 and Deadline. So, Deadline, which came first? It was Deadline, I take it, and then A1.
Oh, they came out almost simultaneously. I think Deadline beat A1 by maybe like a few months, but they were gestating. They were both gestating at the same time. Yeah, and they just came out at that sweet spot of comics in throughout the 80s. They were kind of getting to that period where we almost we almost believed, like coming into the 90s, we almost believed that it wasn't going to be long before every single person in the world was going to be reading graphic novels.
Yeah, no, it took a while though, didn't it? So let's talk a little bit about both the books. So Deadline. So you took over Deadline after it had launched. So how long after it launched did you sort of take on the helm of Deadline?
I think it was probably about might have only been, it's funny, like thinking back, so long, it is so long ago.
Yeah.
Um, it was probably about a year and a half after it had started, and mostly because I took over because Steve and Brett, who are the Steve Dillon and Brett Ewins, the original creators of Deadline, um, they were doing a monthly book for DC Comics. They were working with Pete Milligan on Screamer and trying to do that and trying to do a bi-monthly magazine at the same time was just too much. And they kept going as long as they possibly could. But it was killing them. Um, so the publisher, Tom Astor, Steve and Brett asked me in and said, would I take over? Because they'd seen what I was, Gary Leach and myself was doing with A1. So yeah, that's how I came on board.
Yeah. So A1 and Deadline, they're very different, I think, from comics that were out at the time. I mean, mainly it was like capes and things, right? I had a few obscure things, but for me, Deadline was. I think it was kind of a more of a movement than a comic book. Really, it was a bit like the punk scene when that came along. It was sort of
Mm.
challenging everything, and I mean, is that what Deadline A1 about? Was it about challenging the norms, doing something a little bit different? So, what was the genesis of these magazines? Why were they created in the first place?
Well, it was to be something different. It was an alternate platform for people who wanted something different. I think that we'd seen sort of comics growing from strength to strength, and but we kept seeing like, well, where's the comic for me? Like, it's like why is still the emphasis on as it grows, why are we still focusing on capes and cows? Um, we can tell other stories, right? And it wasn't just that though. It was for us, particularly like at A1, Gary and myself, it was um, creator ownership. Like everybody that worked on A1, they owned everything 100%. Like, and it's going to be the same with A1 Deadline. It's everything is creator owned, creator controlled. Um, our job was to serve as the platform to deliver people's art and ideas.
Yeah, so it's a bit like Vertigo. Do you think the Deadline had some kind of influence for the Vertigo line being created? I mean, you had sort of create your own books, more subversive stories, more countercultural relevant things that weren't, like you say, the Batman or the Supermans or the Spider-Mans. I mean, it feels to me that it kind of birthed a revolution. I mean, after Deadline and A1, we kind of got a lot more books. So, what do you think made it so special? Was it just that there was a lack of this type of book on the market? I mean, was it the creators wanting to leave what they were doing before and have more ownership over their work?
I think there's, for that change, you've also got to look at the impact and influence of 2000 AD as well. 2000 AD is part of that big change, that big movement. And you had, I think Vertigo was a response more to how can we entice these British creators away to do something for us. And that's why they started to offer a greater choice. I mean, we'd seen the effect that Alan Moore, Dave Gibbons, Kev O'Neill had Alan Grant, John Wagner had on DC Comics. And DC Comics wanted to keep those creators. Alan had already started to, his Marvel Man run was going to finish off, was going to be completed at Eclipse. So now there was other opportunities, other places that people could start to go. And so Vertigo, I think, was a direct response to let's keep these people within our circle. Let's try to offer a better deal, but we'll pay people, but they can do something unique, something non-superhero, more sophisticated, and we'll publish it at DC Comics instead under the Vertigo imprint.
I see. So it's just holding on to those creators, right? Because that big push from the British push into America kind of changed a lot of things, didn't it? And I guess they were probably scared to lose those guys, like you said. So did that go into sort of some parts of sort of the downfall of this type of comic in Britain? Because we don't get many of these types of comics like Deadline A1 2000 AD. We usually, what's it, Commando, Buster, Beano, those kind of things. We never really had much choice for comics, or even, well, at least where I grew up, you couldn't buy them. You couldn't find comics anywhere, well,
Right.
American comics at least. So I think America might have had a little say in sort of killing off these magazines, but I think the time is ripe now, I think, for this. I do like it. So stories from Deadline, there weren't just comic books, right? We had music and interviews with musicians, sort of more cultural articles. How did that come about? Because I'd never seen that before in any comic book at all. I mean, I picked up the Face and ID, this and that. So now I was kind of getting the Face and ID, but the sort of the cool versions of that and comic books at the same time. I'd never seen that before. So what decisions went into making that? And was it sort of we need to fill pages, or was it a direct response to the counterculture and the youth during the sort of late 80s and early 90s?
I think it was more a direct response to the counterculture. You even saw in American magazines even magazines like Heavy Metal would occasionally have interviews, articles in them. So in the United States, Heavy Metal would run articles because it's a weird thing under certain postage rules and laws at the time. To get a discount on your postage, you had to prove you were a magazine, not a comic book. And to be a magazine, you had to have at least a certain amount of pages of text pages, articles. So that's what happened in the United States. Uh, in the UK, I think it was just a way of there's other forms of communication, other ways of informing people. And again, it was music interviews, music reviews, sending people it's creators giving the opportunity to hey, here's some of the bands I like. Maybe you'll like them too. Uh, and just sharing influences yeah, this band really influenced me, so let's do an interview with them. And it was kind of as simple as that. It was yeah, I really like this band. Why don't we just interview them? Uh, it started from there. And then, we played around with articles and interviews and started running sort of counterculture material. And yeah,
I
and
think. Sorry, after you.
no, I was just going to say, I think, Chris and I plan to do that with A1 Deadline as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, I went on eBay and I bought a bunch of old issues of these two magazines. And my girlfriend actually is a huge fan of Deadline when Dark Horse reprinted it in the United States. She has a bunch of copies. She has the A1 with the tank girl, the blue cover. She has that.
Uh-oh.
Uh, so I've just been looking through all these magazines and comics, and I when I looked at it, so I'm looking at it for the first time because I did not follow any of this. My girlfriend actually makes fun of me. She's like, "What do you mean you never read Deadline? What do you mean you never read A1? You never heard of that?" And I'm like, Kempo, that is so specific for an American to have encountered. You know,
So,
like myself. You
what
know,
did
I
you
like
think
just
of
a
it then as an
regular.
American then? Because it's very, very
Yeah, like
British.
I remember distinctly my father coming home from New York City to New Jersey, and he bought a copy of A1, and he must have bought it at a newsstand. And I remember getting it, and there was a character on the cover that looked like Captain America. Like it was like a spoof kind of thing, something like that, or it was inside. I remember looking at it and being like, that's not a comic book. What the hell is this? I didn't understand what satire is. I didn't understand. I was very young, you know what I mean?
But
So, but when she showed me this stuff now, I'm like, oh my God, they platformed so many people and bands and like even you know Dave or whoever the editor was who was doing these little like activity book type things, you know, that like made a statement, but they were like some kind of interactive piece of art like on a page because they had an extra page, right? I fell in love with it. I fell in love with how playful it was, how subversive it was, and just the platforming of people giving them a space to talk, you know, using whatever they wanted, whether it was an article, you know, like some messed up word search joke thing or like, you know, whatever. Like it just it made me laugh, but it also made me think. And that's something that I haven't felt a long time with comic books. I build like every year I must build like probably like 30 floppies, and then for magnetic press I'm building, working or designing like 20 hardcover books. And you know these books are massive for magnetic press, so I go through tons of material every year, and nothing brought a little smile to my face like these old issues of A1 and Deadline. I thought they were so funny. I'm upset that I missed them as a kid because I feel like I would be a better person. I would have been more aware of what was going on in the world internationally. I would have been more aware of what satire is, what art really means. Because for me, for most of my art, the art was what was on the paper, right? So it's like, oh, art. Art is a drawing. A script is a collection of words, right? But art, like looking at it at these magazines and the UK comic books compared to the American ones, it's like the art, it's almost like the art is what you're saying and it's not the actual thing on the paper, and it's the culture around the art that matters. You know, it's like what discussion you kick up from what you're making. That's part of the art. That's like half of it. So, and you don't really get that in superhero comic books, what I was consuming as a kid, like in the early 90s. It just wasn't part of what art was. So this has been just illuminating for me to work on, you know, and have discussions with Dave about it and meet other creators, even American creators who were hip to this stuff, but I wasn't, you know. I'm just really thankful to be exposed to it, honestly. So,
Mm. And it had the same
I think
profound effect on me as well, actually, as a young 13, 14-year-old, because I
mhm.
was a skateboarder and I was into art and I read these comics. So all
Oh,
the things that I was into back then, I got bullied for. If I was in school now, I'd be like the
right.
coolest dude in school. And it completely changed my perception of everything around me as well. I didn't follow that normal path of, you know, want to become a lawyer or a doctor, or, you know, the
Right.
suit. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to kind of stand out for the right reasons and read these books and watch these films that I'd never heard of before, you know. And I think that's why I got so excited when I heard it was coming back. I was like, "You are joking!" It's because it's what the industry needs right now. Because before
Yeah,
we were recording,
it needs a kick in the
yeah,
pants,
I
you
think
know,
this is the shot in the arm.
especially here. Yeah,
But
and it needs a kick in the pants here. And if it has to come from over there and not internally, that's fine. Uh
well, we brought all our great
it-
creators over in the 80s. We'll do it again and save you a second time, right? Let's do that,
that's
shall we?
fine. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. I'm sure someone will have their version of like the Max or whatever, and it'll show up, or you know, some American creator will come with some cool thing and include it, I hope.
Yeah.
That's one of the things that I really hope. I really hope this, and I know Dave feels this way too, about making it an international type of experience and really growing the pool of people who are going to work on this. This
Yeah.
first one that we're doing is it's reflective and it's reactive. We have stuff from the past to celebrate what it was, to introduce the audience to the history of it, but also we have stuff that is looking forward, right? New creators, people who are going to carry the torch, right? Who are going to not redefine, but like shape what this is as it goes forward, like their content, what they put in, their what they want to say, and that's one of the most interesting parts is, and also the challenging part, right? Because you don't want it to be completely self-aware where it's talking about the history all the time, but you also don't want to forget about that too. You need
Sure.
that in there.
Yeah.
But you also have to open it up to new people, right? Like I have a lot of people here. I live in Portland. Dark Horse is here, Image is here, Oni's here, half of Magnetic Press is here. I know so many people. Like I was talking with Mike Oming, I'm really good friends with him, and he's doing the 25th anniversary of Powers
Powers.
with
Oh boy, that
Brian
was another
Mendez.
exciting time.
Yeah, we flew together on the plane down to San Diego. Like we're good friends with them. And like they're like, "Oh my God, like I used to work in a comic store and I used to like take the issues of Deadline and like when they were gonna throw them out, I used to take them out of the garbage can or whatever, right? Like they have fond memories of this stuff and they love to work on this stuff. So, and there's a lot of people, and I would love to get people who are like 20. Like, what do you want to say? Right? What do you want to say? There's a lot going on. Your world in 10 years is going to look completely different. Are you afraid of that? Are you excited about that? What do you want to say about it? Here's a platform. Talk about it,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
Deadline
I
is
yeah,
think
very much a voice, isn't it? So
I
yeah,
think yeah,
totally.
Chris and myself were kind of make almost like joking about it the other day when like for us, like a lot of other work we've done is, we're working on projects that will come out in next year or something, and or it's taking some piece of work, a beautiful piece of work from another country, and producing it as a nice, beautiful piece of work
Right.
in the English language. But A1 Deadline is giving us the ability to spin on a dime. Like we can, yeah, we'll have the Kickstarter and we'll have, like, yeah, this is what's going to be in it. But at the last minute, like we have that ability to just put in, oh, I've got this great pinup or this piece it's almost like a cartoon of a current event, and we can just drop it in, and by the time it reaches everybody, it's still going to be current.
so you could be
Yeah, I would like
reactive
that. I
whenever you
would,
want, right?
Mm.
right. I would,
Yeah.
I would love, I mean, it cannot be this fast, but I would love it to be like, the way like Trey Parker with South Park, like there's just like boom, like
Mm.
it's still relevant by the time they're like a week turnaround, right?
Mm.
But obviously in publishing you can't do that. But like it feeling that kind of momentum and cultural relevance is going to be really important to this going forward, as much as we can. So,
So
Yeah, I
let's talk
think
about A1 Deadline. So how did you two meet up? And then how did you two suddenly decide to put A1 and Deadline together and do this? I mean, there's a story there. I mean, this doesn't come out of thin air. Has this been something that's been on the back boiler for years that you've always wanted to do or return to? I mean, how did it all happen? What was the genesis?
I met him through a mutual friend, Justin,
mm,
who said we have to talk and we have to
yeah,
work.
yeah.
That's how it happened. This one mutual connection. I used to work with Justin at Meltdown Comics in Hollywood. I used to teach digital coloring because I started 15 years ago when I started my career, basically. I was a comic book colorist. That's what I did, like exclusively, right? So now I'm a project manager, production, but I started as a colorist. And I taught there and I used to hang out with Justin all the time. He always had these clever ideas. We always say Justin's big idea. And his big idea was Dave and I talking about this, about getting together. Chris works for Magnetic Press. He works on all these European books. Dave is in the UK. He's worked with tons of Europeans and people in the UK. You guys should talk. But I know he's been sitting on doing something with this longer before I came in the picture. So,
Yeah, I mean, first off, like, yeah, Justin Sewell is someone who, if you're a Lord of the Rings fan, should definitely clock in every week to watch the OneRing.net and see their
For sure.
podcast.
Oh, right. I
Justin
didn't know
and
they were behind it.
Cliff, yeah, so Justin and Clifford run that, and they're such the best people. Like, I mean, when I talk about good people, like those
mm,
two are good people. And so when Justin said Chris is good people, I like, well, yeah, definitely. Like, I like, yeah, that's, and he was absolutely 100% right. And so, it was about 3 years ago. Um, I was talking to Tom Astor, and who was the original publisher of Deadline, and we're having this conversation. And I'd had an idea for possibly a special issue of Deadline, and he was straight out. He's just like not interested, and I
Oh,
was like,
wow.
oh, okay. And I was like, so I thought that was going to be the end of the conversation. And he goes, but you can do anything you like with it. And I'm like, you don't mind? And he goes like, no, in fact, like, it was then that he turned around to me and said, look, I never said this to you at the time, but you pretty much saved Deadline magazine when you took over. So, because I turned it around, I gave them the biggest ever sales, and so he said, it's only fitting you have it. And I said, like, what do you want for it? He goes, nothing. Just give it, like, just treat it well. And like,
Wow.
and the only thing he said was, the only thing he was insistent on was just make sure that when you do it, you give credit to Steve and Brett for starting it in the first place. And I was like, absolutely, like
It goes without saying, right?
you never have to ask that. Um,
That was
yeah,
one of
and
my
so
questions actually about how you're going to honor them, but we'll get to that later. So he just basically gave you the whole IP of
well, so
property,
just
let's
to be
call it.
clear, so Deadline, what he gave me, like originally when Deadline was originally published, Tom Astor kept a percentage of every project. So like he owned a piece of um, Tank Girl, he owned a piece of Wired World, he owned a piece of Johnny Nemo, he had a piece of Bebop and Lula. So all of these strips that appeared in there, he owned a little tiny piece of. And but in the end, what he did is he gave everybody their rights back and said, right, that's it. I don't owe anything. So he was just giving me the title. And um, so yeah, so that's what he gave me. Like
Wow.
I have no rights to anything. And one of the things that, Chris and myself both 100% agree on is A1 Deadline is about, it's creator owned. It's how I started A1. Everything that appears in Deadline
Nice.
is 100% owned by the creators. Like they own it. And at the end of the day, all I will own is the title.
Yeah.
That's it. That's and it's all theirs. I do we do a royalty split of after the costs of the printing and shipping, etc. All profits are split 80/20. 80% goes to the creators.
That's a nice little chunk. Yeah.
Well, we hope it's a nice chunk, but it's just like, this is about creators, and this is about giving them a platform. Like one of the main reasons I wanted to do this is, and I think that the main deciding factor was there is no real place really for anyone to get their first work published anymore. Like 2000 AD they do a competition every year where they give someone the opportunity to win a competition, and then like if
That's
you
right.
might get a future shock or something. But I wanted to do something where, yeah, we've got an amazing roster of people who have offering their work for us to publish again. Um, but I want to be able to use that to also like put in some new talent amongst them. So like, yeah, you might find yourself sandwiched between an Alan Martin Tank Girl strip and a short story by Bill Sienkiewicz.
Well, this is the thing that's missing as well. I was kind of going to ask you about the creators in a bit as well. That I think that's something that is really, really attractive because when I got my book published, I think I was lucky enough to have a friend in Ian Churchill. He's a very close friend of mine, and he knew Eric over at Image. And he said, "Listen, I'm not gonna help you in the sense of I'm gonna make it happen for you. What I'll do is, instead of it being this far down the list of things that are getting looked at, I'll make sure he looks at it and you get a decision quicker." And that's what happened. I thought, I don't think I'd ever would have been able to break in all those years ago myself had I not had help. And I've always wondered, why is there not something now that's a bit more open where you can just, like you say, be yourself, because you can tell your story in here. You're not governed by editors or anything else in the UK at least. So this makes Deadline A1 even more attractive to me. I think this is a perfect vehicle for it because there's no rules really, are there? You know, and I was going to say, what makes Deadline special? What makes this relaunch more than just nostalgia? Because a lot of people will be thinking, well, it's just, this is going to capitalize on the history, but this to me says it's not really about the history. It's built on the history, but it's about the future of comics. Like you mentioned, the curators, you've got Steve Pugh coming back. You've got, like you say, Bill Sienkiewicz, Rufus Dayglo, Ron Marsh, Shaky Kane, Kevin Eastman. The list is endless. And I was wondering, is there going to be any room for other people, and how would that look?
That's the reason we've got all those names. The reason I want all those names is so that I want people to buy it. I want people to come and get it. But at the same time, like the more people that get it, the more I'm able to go, okay, well, look, like let's start slotting in new talent. Let's start putting in like new strips from people. Because if people are going to buy something because there's a Kevin Eastman wrote a story or drew a story or Bill Sienkiewicz, and I know I can get those people, like, okay, so if that's going to get me a certain amount of sales, then I'm going to put something new in there that you've never seen before. And I think the thing that I want with A1 Deadline is I like when you look through it, when you go from one strip to the next, I want it to be like a punch in the face. I want it to be like the style changes. I don't want them to blend into one another. I want it to be like whoa, that's completely different from that. And then the next strip is completely different from the last one. And there's some fantastic creators out there. Alison Sampson at the last MCM introduced me to some wonderful talent at the show. And a lot of people wouldn't see their work because they like to do a single piece. They don't do storytelling. So, there's what I'm going to be doing is we'll have a really cool piece of artwork between two stories that will look like neither piece. So the idea is it's going to there is no plans yet to have any sort of advertising. So instead of having an ad at the end of a story, it'll be a really nice piece of art. And it's going to be a way of separating it. Because it's almost like you take a breath. You've read one story. You take a breath with a piece of artwork, turn the page, and you're into another story or an article.
Deadline kind of did that as well. That's another thing. I think it's funny you mention these things because it's reminding me of what I love so much is that I would read a story that looked maybe very traditional, and then I get these 3 pages of not strips but Shaky Kane just drawing characters and clothing and bits and bobs and pin-ups, and there'll be a pin-up here and then there'd be this article, and I think it gave this kind of like roller coaster of like what is going to happen next, because you pick up a comic nowadays, you know what's coming, right? You're going to turn the page, it's all very bland. And I think with Deadline, you didn't know what was going to happen in the next page. You're going from Tank Girl to something completely crazy to then Milk and Cheese, then something that's so psychedelic, and then you're reading about Blur. And I think if if the whole point of the new A1 deadline is to recapture that magic and that subversiveness, I think it's going to resonate because it's new again. Like, it's cyclic, isn't it? I mean, we haven't had something like this forever. Readers are really used to the boring stuff now, so when it comes, I think it's going to shock like it did back when it shocked me back in the late 80s and early 90s. So is it still going to be a subversive? So the voice is in there. I know we spoke a little bit before we were recording. So the content in there is it no rules? Basically, whatever you want to talk about, you get to talk about it. It's going to challenge the norms.
That's in the Instagram ad that's running. No rules.
Yeah.
It's no rules, new stories. That's and old classics, old bangers, right? It's that just says it all. There's 3 lines.
Yeah, because it needs to catch that rebellious spirit, right? That deadline.
Yeah,
A1
totally.
had.
And I think the purpose of the older stuff being reprinted or cleaned up and reprinted or whatever and put in is not just to buffer around and elevate new artists. I think it's even to introduce those artists to this concept, because I don't know if in America at least, there was no real place to do what Dave's saying, like put these 3-page stories, 1-page stories, people do strips. Like, where do you put that? There's gold out there. There are voices that are very unique, and there's nowhere to put them except on Instagram, and you'll drown on Instagram. You'll completely drown. Like I see so many accounts that have, they have 300,000 followers or 100,000 followers, but like I never find them, and they're excellent. And I think providing a direct conduit on a Kickstarter to people who are really, really, really going to appreciate what you do, and then bring those, they're different audiences, there's all different audiences in different places. There's a novelty to holding a magazine, now it's like a novelty, right? Having a magazine, it is. But so yeah, that is part of it. But
Paper's back, baby.
No, I refer to I want to make a t-shirt for this that says I think I said it to Dave in a WhatsApp chat where I said oops, I made a cultural artifact, right? Because it feels like that. It's like I stumbled into making something that's a cultural artifact, that really captures the month that it's in. That's how it should feel. Very unique projects. Very unique. I'm very happy. I haven't felt this kind of energy for a Kickstarter project in a while because I kind of get in the mode. I work on them every month. And you get in this mode where it's come and get it. Here's the new book. The new book. Here's the new thing. And that's fine. But that's like a system that's also having a lot of trouble right now because of everything that's going on with my country's tariffs and everything, which affects world trade all over the place and everything. So to kind of step outside of that is like, it's really refreshing, and to self-reflect on the economic system that I'm in and how I approach systems that are commerce systems, right? Or how the world sees us right now, to be self-reflective. As an American, this magazine, this A1 deadline entity, it allows me it facilitates that for me. And I hope it facilitates that for a lot of people here. So I have high hopes in the US for this once it gets into the bloodstream.
So what has the reaction been from sort of fans and creators alike? Because I mean, once this little secret got out, so what happened? Did you get a lot of feedback from fans? Did some creators come knocking on the door and saying, "Hey guys, I've got to be in here. Let me in. Let me in."
Yeah.
Yeah. It's, I mean, like, everybody I know, almost everybody I know, because I was very cautious at first. I started reaching out to a few people. Like, you always start with the people you know.
I was going to ask, who's the first creator that you called? Who is the one who thought, right, this is real now, right? Top of the list? Who was the top of the list? Excuse me, because I was really,
I
really
kind of
interested last night
remember
thinking, who would
actually.
I call?
Wasn't it Rufus? Because you were like going on a
Well, no,
walk with
see,
him or
Rufus was one of the people. Like, so Rufus Dayglo is like
Uh-huh.
one of the most amazing, wonderful people I've ever met in my life. He's just such the one of the most super talented, super cool, super nice, the original punk rock star artist. So, like, he was, yeah, I probably didn't say his name straight away because it just, Rufus is almost like family to me. So it's like, um, you know, I, I come to think of it, if I probably hadn't gone to Rufus first, he'd have probably been really upset. But he was, yeah, I mean, he was just like super, super excited, like immediately starts throwing sort of artwork at me and things like that. And it's just like, oh, I'm going to do this, I'm going to do that. And I'm like, okay, 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 all right, all right, good. Um, but yeah, it's like to get everyone from sort of like, the Rufus to Ed Ilya, Shaky, of course. Um, but then, I knew I wanted to make it international. And so, like, I checked in with Bill Sienkiewicz and people like Scott Hampton, George Pratt, um, Evan Dawkin, Michael Gilbert, and Um, yeah, it's just kept being yeses, really. Alan
It was funny
Martin.
when I had to explain to Mark, my partner with my company, Horrible Future, I was like, so there's this thing. It's called the Alien Deadline. I know this English guy, and I'm gonna do this, and I'm gonna put our logo all over it. We're gonna boost this.
And
We're
Mark
gonna
and Mark's written a story for the first
And
one.
Mark's written a story because Mark's
Amazing.
a writer and creator as well. So,
Yeah.
and we have Eric Donovan illustrating that, who works with Tyrion, and he did Memetic and all those books. He just had a like omnibus hardcover come out of that. I was just at his place looking at it. It's beautiful, and we saw it in Amoeba Music too when we were in Hollywood. Um, yeah, like it's so funny. I had to like tell Mark what it was, explain why I want to be involved, like who this guy is, right? I just had like a pitch for like the best thing ever. Like I that's how I felt, you know. Because Mark and I, what we're doing is like we're building IP, right? So we're trying to build up like almost franchise type things,
Mhm.
and see it have it be an awesome graphic novel, but also see where we can place it elsewhere, right? So more people get exposed to it and can enjoy it. This is not that. This is like in the moment now. Like we don't own anything. The artists own everything, right? The contracts are completely skewed towards the creatives. Like it
Yeah.
does not, you know, we're not going to flop because we did that, by the way. We have
Oh
it
yeah.
set up
Yeah.
smart because Mark is very smart about how he writes it. He's legal guy. I'm so confident in this. And again, like Dave said, it's kind of the opposite of what we've been doing other places, right? It's we're gonna put the artists way in front of everything else. They're gonna retain all their rights to everything. We're giving people, we're platforming people, not at our expense, but like you know, at their gain, not at our expense. I'll say it like that,
Yeah.
and we make it very clear, like the Kickstarter page draft. This is all built. I did it all already. It's all done. All the graphic design, trailer, everything. But as soon as you come onto that page, it says this. This is creators first, 100%.
Mm.
This is, if you do $5 more or you get a t-shirt, that is going to them, you
Yeah.
know. And I that is so refreshing to not have to answer to, Dave and I only have to answer to ourselves and our reputation,
Mm.
which is, of course, like when something's that personal, that's everything to you. Like my reputation and who I am is the most important thing, more important than any company that I work for, right? So I love having that amount of responsibility, and I love that they have that amount of ownership over what they're doing here.
Mhm.
So
I think
I
that's
get
going to
passionate
resonate.
about it because I get excited because I
Well,
love this. It's an alternative system, and it's refreshing.
But
They,
it's so true to what I perceived Deadline to be and A1 to be back in those days. It was, like I said earlier, rebellious. It was different. It was
right.
trying to do something that hadn't been done before, and that's what made it more endearing and more enduring. So it's like it's like the soul. I could feel the soul of Deadline in the words that you're saying about what you're doing, you know, and that's what makes me
Sure.
even more excited, because I've had so many things that I've loved for 40 years and they've been brought back and they've been absolutely squandered, you know, with bad decisions, and they're terrible, and they're not
Yeah.
even a shadow of themselves. But like everything I feel when you talk, I'm 13 again in my art class with a sheet of paper drawing these flowers, but with Deadline underneath it, trying to look at Jamie Hewlett's like little quotes that he writes up the gutters. Right, it was just like it just gives me the
And
goosebumps to think that this could actually be back, and it's going to be the same, you know, but modern.
it is. It
I
is.
think I think
Yeah.
there's a thing that there's an honesty, and I think that's kind of for me is probably the best word, an honesty to what we're
Yeah.
doing. Like one of the things when you know, Chris is like to me, it's like when it comes to sort of like, hey, like when we do the Kickstarter and how to lay it out, like Chris is like all hail, like Chris, like you know what to do. But one of the things that I really felt I wanted in there is like everyone on Kickstarter has like, okay, here's how the tiers work. When we get to this level, someone gets a bookmark, and then on this level, everyone gets a print or something. And I was adamant. I said, what I want in there is on certain tiers, I want the audience to know that when we hit certain tiers, that at that tier, it means that every creator gets X
Yeah,
amount on their royalty. So, the,
Right.
so, so at this point, every artist has got like, you know, 100 quid. And then we'll have maybe a tier, a couple of down, which would be like, hey, here's something else. Like, because we've got other things like posters and things like that we're going to be doing, poster mags. But there'll be another tier that says, hey, when we hit this mark, it's £150 a page. And because I think it's important for the audience to understand that creators like they need support, and
mm,
I'm trying to support as many creators coming into this, you know, experimenting. Like A1 was always about freedom and creativity and experimentation. Like you know, there was quite a few creators who we got to write their very first strips, had never written anything before. Um,
Very common. Yeah.
yeah, and it's you know, usually like you work for a big company and like, well, you're an artist and this person is a writer, and it's like, well, no, like we want you to like have a go. You must have an idea, like 3 pages, like come
mm.
up with something.
Yeah.
And
Don't you want to know what like Simon Bisley thinks about Brexit?
yeah,
You know,
I'd
like
love to know. I literally just watched a video of him doing a studio tour, and I was like, this is exactly how I imagine Simon Bisley to be. Just some dude. He likes his records. He sits in a corner drawing all day, and it was amazing to
yeah.
to see that. Yeah, yeah. I'd love to know what he thinks about that. Is Simon
yeah.
Bisley joining the party? Was that a little
Yeah.
hint there?
We have some work.
We have a lot
There
of
is,
work from him.
yeah,
Yeah.
we've got quite a bit of work by Simon. I would dearly love to get Simon like cranking on something new. I had such a great time working with him in the past. So it would be sort of like that'd be another band I wouldn't mind getting back together
Honestly,
on. So
look, I'm getting even more excited when you say Bisley. I just love this. I love this. It's like revisiting all your favorite things from the past, but they're also in the future. It's such a weird feeling. Who else have you got? Come on, there's got to be some names that we haven't mentioned. I've got one that I'm hoping you're going to say, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure. One of my heroes
um,
from Deadline.
no, I mean, look, it's funny. Like we were joking about the fact that because this first one's a special, like it's a special, and quite like again, just being totally honest, we are wanting to see what the reception is like how many people are like you wanting this to come back. And it's when we've got that information, when we see how many people back this, we've got, right, okay, now we can create some concrete structure for what things will be like when it actually comes back fully next year. Because what I would dearly love is I'd like us to be able to get to the point where Chris and I are doing this as a regular quarterly. We'll do like the beginning of the year, we'll do a subscription. You buy a subscription to all 4 issues, and every quarter you get an issue, and move forward like that. So in a way,
yeah.
I was just going to say, in a way, I was thinking that this special is almost like our Force Awakens. Like when everyone saw Star Wars Force Awakens, it was like, hey, we've got familiar faces back. Hey, look, Han Solo's back. Princess Leia's back. Chewie's back. R2-D2 and C-3PO, the Millennium Falcon, they're all back, with some new stuff in. Well, we want to maybe sort of like continue on a little bit better than Force Awakens.
Yeah, I was going to make a joke about the analogy.
No, guys.
Yeah.
Guys, the next one was subversive. That's what this is.
Yeah.
So
You're being very polite about that.
It's supposed to make you think, and it's supposed to shake everything up. So it's fine
True.
to use that.
And remember,
Yeah.
and because I want to give a platform to artists, and if someone says to me, hey, there's something I feel really strongly about, can I do it?
Yeah.
And it was like, okay, I might not even ask what it's about. I might just go for it. Because most of these creators I've known for years and years, a long time. So I kind of know where their heads are at. So I like if someone it's about trusting. Like, okay, you want to tell how many pages you want? 5 pages? Okay, go for it. And giving them, now they may piss off some of the audience. They may piss off some of the other artists in there. But what I'm going to say to any artist that feels pissed off, I'm going to say, all right, well, you tell us, like, where do you feel? Like, you do a story, counter it. Like, I want to do, like, my dream is to sort of bring back letters pages again, like a real letters page where we print your letter and we answer it in print, not just on some thread on some chat somewhere.
Our letters page, we were joking around about the title, and Justin had the good title, right? The title was Dead Ends, and it just goes at the end.
That's actually the name of the original Deadline letters page.
So his head's in the right space.
Yeah, he was there. He hadn't even read it, and it was like he's there.
He was locked into what this is. Yeah, what he's saying too about what you're going around is why it's on going to be on Kickstarters, because this is a community fueled project. It takes off and lives and dies on the community, which includes the artists making art and making stories. That's part of the community, right? And the people who are purchasing this and supporting the artists. So this is a loop. It's a feedback loop. So if we can get this spun up fast enough and create a fast enough loop, it's going to be very, very healthy. So it's really important that, everybody goes and follows it that cares about this, because this lives and dies on community. This is a community focused thing, which is very different than, it's not a money grab or nostalgia money grab. This is community based. And we will interact with the community. We will include the community. There are going to be, it is not a Kickstarter that's going to launch and then you won't hear from us and then we're going to ask for another issue in 5 months. You will hear from us. We will be having dialogues with the readers, with building this, informing, even your opinion will inform how we build this. Like you said, we're going to see where everything's at. And to me, again, that's part of the art. That's part of the experience. It's a book, but it's also a community experience.
Yeah.
So I am thrilled to be a part of that community because, I walk around looking for connection like everyone else. So this facilitates it for a lot of people who want the same thing, or at least want the same kind of dialogue this free-form dialogue where you talk about art and culture and stuff. Yeah, I think it's great. I hope it's like the opposite of Twitter. It's just like people
Yeah.
talking
Well,
constructively,
there's,
like
I mean,
discussing interesting things. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, as our community grows, there's going to be other things we can do. Like Chris is really big on like zines and things like that. Zines like this, it has this whole thing coming back.
Mm.
Love it.
And so one of the things we can do is if people send us some zines they've done in our newsletters, we can actually give links and have people download other people's zines so they could like we can spread messages and zines within the community. So there's lots of things we can do to sort of, you know, sort of connect people with each other.
I think that's the key. You seem to be ticking all the boxes here. I mean, you're bringing something back that's loved, and you're not ruining it for starters. The same look and feel and
We're trying.
spirits there. Yeah, the creators are getting paid, which is a big thing for me. Like from coming back to something like this, I know a lot more people now that actually care about the creators. They'd rather go direct to the creator than maybe
Yeah.
go to one of these
Yeah.
bigger companies because they know that creator is going in their pocket and not just some coiffers or some giant conglomerate. And so it's like that's really, really important for me and a lot of people, and also the fact that if you did it any other way, it wouldn't be Deadline, would it? Really, it wouldn't be A1.
No,
So
I
all
don't
of these
think
things are
I don't think it can exist off of Kickstarter, to be
no,
honest with you. I think it needs to be with the community swell under it without a
yeah,
corporate thing on top of it. It just has to be, or else
exactly.
it's we don't want censorship. We don't want people to hold back what they're doing. We want clean, pure communication with the audience. And I want the only one who should approve anything that's posted or said back and forth to the audience is me telling Dave, like, hey, I think we should talk about this thing or update them on this or
Mm,
whatever. It's two people,
Yeah.
yeah.
and either we agree or we don't, or we talk about it and we get it done. And there's no barrier for the creators to go through to talk to us. They could talk to us at anytime they want.
Well, this is what I was going to
Anyone.
say. The fact you've got this community where it is two-way, it's like we all want to be. You said earlier about searching for, meaning. So if you feel part of something, then you're more likely to put more effort and time and energy into it and talk about it more. And I think that's what Deadline needs, because we don't have comics like that. We can't change things in the comics that we love. I was talking earlier about Amazing Spider-Man. I love Amazing Spider-Man, and like no matter how much the fans push back, we're told we're wrong, and it never changes. It gets worse and worse and worse and worse. So you get detached from it. You start loving it that little bit less. You start not caring about it, and it kind of affects everything else that's coming from that direction. Where with something like this, the more in you have with it, the more it becomes part of you. And I think that's how it's going to grow. That organic growth. You'll be somewhere and go, hey, dude, check this out. You've got to read this. You've got to. You draw. Why don't you send something in? And I think that's going to help this grow much, much stronger than like here's a company, they're publishing it, they've sold it, they've moved on to the next
Yeah.
thing. I think this allows people to continue the story.
We want to
So
have
it's super exciting.
we want to have sections in the magazine, a section in the magazine on a regular basis with drawing tips, not just drawing tips, but even craft tips, like things that you can do creatively. Like, Chris put together a little template that he sent me for how to make a zine, for instance. And so the idea of showing people like, well, you don't even have to be an artist to make a zine. You can just be creative. You can use collage. You can use your words. You can use colors and anything, your own personal pictures. Make a zine and, send it to us and we'll share it with everyone else.
It's almost like making your point and communicating an idea is the actual art,
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
not
Yeah.
how you
Yeah.
facilitate it, right?
It's like the
It's the
message, not the
act.
medium, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's the act of creation. And the act of creation isn't just like producing comics. Like,
No.
it's if someone's got a cool idea, if someone's got a unique something they've made, like I mean, like if someone's got a great idea for a paper airplane, like, okay, well, we'll show us the diagram, how to fold it, and then we'll share that with everybody, so everyone can start throwing around their own paper airplanes, and send us your paper airplane ideas. Send us your, various send us your craft ideas, like crochet. It's a creative, like it's the idea of just getting people to be creative.
I want to do an origami tank girl with Alan.
That would be fantastic. That would be fantastic. I mean, for me, like Tango was a big pull, and I think because I was so young, that was easily to access that, and through that, it made me want to read all the other stuff in there, which was maybe a little bit beyond my time at the
And
time when I
that's
was
and
young.
that's we're
Yeah,
we're following that mode, right? Where we pepper things in this first one, and you'll want to read everything else around it. You're going to get exposed to new stuff.
yeah.
So yeah, yeah.
So I was going to ask, this is purely selfish. Are we going to have an appearance from Mr. Hewlett by any chance? Because I will sell my soul for that to happen. There's not much left of it, but I will sell the rest of my soul to see Jamie Hewlett in this summer special. Or is that something you can't talk about?
Well, no, we can. I mean, there will be Jamie Hewlett in there.
Good.
You
Doesn't have to be
may
Tank
have
Girl, it just has to be Jamie.
no,
Sure.
it is Tank Girl, and you might have seen this particular strip before, but it will be in print in color for the first time with a piece of
Oh,
art that's never been seen before from him. So yeah.
amazing. I've just gone to the Gorillaz exhibition in London. It was all
Mm.
immersive with all of his art and
I
artboards
saw
and
that.
everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was incredible because I know a lot of work goes into these things, but to actually see just how much detail went into every frame of the video that he drew himself, it was
Mhm.
incredible. I just love seeing his work. And I thought, you've got to have Hewlett if you're bringing back Deadline, right? You've got to have Hewlett and Martin. You've got to have
Well,
some
no,
of those classic guys.
yeah, I mean, yes and no. Like the thing is, like as we said, like this is kind of this first special is kind of our Force Awakens. It's very much it's a nod to those that came before. Look, we've got there's a strip by Steve Dillon in there, written and drawn by Steve. It's going to be colored by Laura Martin, but Steve, alas, has passed. Um, but he was very much a part, like he was the founding father along with Brett of Deadline. Brett will also be present in there. We've got a poster we're giving away of Johnny Nemo by Brett, and there's a story he wrote with for Glenn Fabry in there as well.
Oh, brilliant.
So yeah, so it's this is what I mean. It's like it is a tribute act, and yes, like you know,
I
yeah,
know what you mean. You want to bring them in with the familiar, and while they introduce them to their new
well,
favourites as such,
it
right?
is, but I owe it, like me personally, I owe it to Steve and Brett, and also I'm gonna have a poster by Gary Leach in there. Um, I owe it, like, I owe it to them, and I owe it to like, I don't want people to ever forget who they are or were. It's yes, it's like it's a delicate balancing act. I always honor the past. Like there's so many great creators have left us, and so often, like, the next generation doesn't know who they are.
No.
And so every now and again, it will be like, hey, just going to remind you that these great creators left us, but you won't have seen this. And particularly with creator owned material, like when it's corporate owned, like yes, we're gonna like obviously like my favorite Spider-Man stories are still the Steve Ditko stories. But and Steve is no longer with us, but that's not going to stop Marvel from printing his work. With creators, with creator owned material, often when the creator passes, the work disappears with them.
Mm.
So I want to make sure that with people like Stephen Brett, Gary, that where possible, I can always remind people every now and again, hey, like there's this guy, he's left us now, but my God, they left. There was a body of work they did that was amazing. So that's how I feel about it, and I want to, someone might be inspired. Someone brand new might be inspired by Brett Ewins' artwork.
Mm.
He might see that, or Steve, and go like, "Wow, that's amazing! I love that." And we'll have a new
Look,
Steve Dillon.
I'm brand new and I am inspired by all of this.
Yeah.
Right? I never really saw any of this. And when I saw every time I see on the folder you upload on the Dropbox something new, it's like Christmas. It's like Christmas morning. It's like, wow.
I'm actually surprised how much of an effect it's had on people that didn't see it the first time around or weren't
Right,
British, essentially. Like hearing
right.
your excitement, it does surprise me because I didn't think. I mean, it resonated in my head, but so my opinion of the book is biased because I remember the effect it had on me and everyone else.
Sure.
I never really sure that across the water it had such a great effect. So the fact that a book that is 20 odd years old is having an effect on you now, right? I think that's going to spread because
Yeah,
if it
I have to, I not only have to be like, oh, I think this is really cool. It's like, oh, I'm going to dedicate like a large amount of my time to this instead of doing something else, right? That's how much I appreciate it, and it affected me seeing this stuff and hearing Dave's tales of the past, what he sees the future of it being, right? It's, I've dedicated a huge amount of time to this now, building this with Dave and talking about it, and there's been so much love and care put into this by him and by me now. Yeah, it affected me to the point where I'm gonna run a Kickstarter. It is a lot of effort. I know I do a lot of them. I am a comic book Kickstarter guy, but a
Yeah.
part of my Swiss Army knife, right? But it's a lot of time, and me wanting to do all this community stuff and that being the focus, it's even more time than it. Oh, I hope it does, but like it's not. I don't think it's gonna make $100,000 or anything like that. But on Kickstarter, if it does, great. You're gonna get a lot of cool stuff. If that happens, the artists are gonna be very, very happy with the way everything's set up, right? I hope it is. But if it doesn't, it's still gonna be the same amount of work if it makes
exactly.
$20,000 or $10,000. I'm still gonna put the same amount of effort into the community, no matter how it performs financially. Because that's the point, right? And that's what's going to make it grow. So as long as it's moving on a vertical, I, an American, I love it. I wrote on my Facebook, Dave Elliott and I, my personal Englishman, we're going to do this project. You should check it out, follow, like, and subscribe. And I wrote, this is the book that my country, my scene over here needs right now. And it's the book that
100%.
I need personally right now. I need to feel like I'm venting, I'm giving a voice to people. People feel in America like they don't have a voice right now. So whether they do that by mouthing off or expressing themselves or just create things, always be creating things, always explore things, always have that discussion. The community thing is super important because after COVID, I notice it, no one hangs out anymore. People don't come over. I used to have Mario Kart parties. People would come over and play games and I'd make pizza. Like I'm Sicilian. I used to make pizza for everybody. People are in their own little groups, and I need community personally. And I want this to be it for me right now. And
Yeah.
I think it will be it for a lot of people. So
I think it will merge
for me,
those
it's
echo
a
chambers into a bigger
yeah, it's
sphere as
all echo
such.
chambers, and that's why we're in the position we're in. So we need to open up dialogue. We need to have, freedom of speech, freedom of art, expression. We need it. I need it personally. So, yeah, this is the most opposite thing that I'm working on professionally. It is not corporate. So.
Well, how do people get hold of it then? So the Kickstarter, is there a date that's going to be announced soon? Whether you're going to open it all up? Is there? What's the plans, guys?
So I'm kind of in charge of that because I'm watching how it's performing. It's good with a Kickstarter to have a very big front load it because the best you will ever do is on the first day every time. So you want to make sure your first day is the best day possible. And there's things you can do to keep it going and everything, but that first day is really going to define how it's going to perform. And in this case, it's going to define how A1 deadline continues. You know, that once that first day is over, Dave and I are going to know how much this is going to do, how much legs it has to go forward. We'll know on the first day in 24 hours. So we are it was a summer special, right? All your other videos say summer special. We've been saying summer special. It's still going to be in the summer, but it's at the very end of summer because we've gotten so much interest, like you said, Dave said it, from the creators in the community. It would be a disservice to like launch it tomorrow.
Yeah.
Have launched it earlier. It would have been a huge disservice to it. Just so everybody knows, it's performing excellent word of mouth on Facebook and on Meta ads, which is what I use to advertise everything. The Instagram is doing very well. We'll give you all these links so people can
Yeah, I'll drop them in the description.
go check it out. But yeah, even today, I'm just gonna throw numbers out there. I do a very small ad spend. I don't spend a lot on ads. We're talking like sub $10 ad spends, right? And I'm getting like 40 people. It's got a like 1/3 of the people who visit the landing page sign up. There's love for this for sure. So I don't want to turn off that faucet just yet. Dave and I will have an official announcement probably on Bleeding Cool, I guess, Dave. Because
Oh, Rich has got to get the scoop right. And then he'll tell you that he knew it was coming anyway. Oh, Rich.
So the answer
Well,
is
either Rich or Heidi.
well, one for the US and one for
Yeah.
I suppose you could do it. Okay,
Yeah.
good, because I don't think you need to rush. Like you say, you don't need to rush it. You've got so much interest from creators, from the fans. Like rushing that out, I think would be the worst thing possible. I'd rather wait. I'd rather that cover has summer crossed out and it's scrawled over winter. You know, just like you imagine a deadline cover would look like, right? But it's the best thing you could possibly get.
Well, we have gone from a 48-page summer special to an 80-page special.
I was going to ask the extent of it. So it's jumped up to 80 pages. So about the tiers then. So can you tell us about something about the tiers? What kind of differences will there be? I mean, if you hit certain targets, are you going to extend pages? So what can we expect to see? I mean, I won't hold you to it, but it'd be interesting to know how this is going to look.
I can give you a brief overview of what I have right now, which I feel is good enough to launch. I won't because we're still working on things with the actual book and the creators. But basically, I joked around about not having a digital tier at all because so much of this experience is holding a magazine in your hands. I haven't decided if I'm going to do that or not. I might just make it that just everybody just gets the digital copy. That's pretty standard on Kickstarter anyway. I think I'm including so many kind of free things just to stoke the community in the tiers that I think everyone would buy a physical one anyway.
Oh, 100%. I'm there today.
The way it's set up and what people want. Yeah. It's like buying a digital version of a board game. Like who would do that on a Kickstarter project? Like that's how I feel about it. It just doesn't make sense. But there's some variant covers that Dave and I have put together. There's not 3 on the Kickstarter, but there are 3 that we have, and we're kind of juggling what's right for what audience. What's right for the UK, what's right for a retail release, what's right for a variant on the Kickstarter. They're all by people that you're going to want the cover of. Okay. So,
well, actually,
we're also not playing the game of like 100 covers, right? We're talking about 1 variant cover and 1 main cover. That's it.
Yeah.
The Shaky Cane one has been kind of shown off already, but the other one, we're debating what we're going to do for the other one. So.
Well, the third one, it's more than likely. I have been talking to Diamond UK, and Diamond UK would like they've been wanting to carry this since I first announced it.
Right.
So there will probably be an exclusive cover for the UK retailer market through Diamond UK. But we'll still offer, but probably what we'll do is that cover will still be offered as a print on the Kickstarter. So you will still get
that art will come through.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Everyone,
There,
the opportunity, everyone's going to get a chance to get everything.
yeah.
Yeah,
There's a of course there's a tier where you can get both of the variant covers, you know. There's some things I don't want to talk about that are in these tiers. There's a very generous collector's tier that probably has more in it than I should give people. Again, this whole thing is geared towards the community, not towards us, right? It's that tier is very, very attractive. Like I would buy that tier, you know? And then there's like a very high tier that's for people who like absolutely must have everything. It's like 5 or 6 tiers. It's not we're not playing games with tiers and everything. I've done enough Kickstarters to know how to push people up to the next tier, but also I've done enough to know when that's annoying. And the point of this again is to get the issues in the hands of people, right?
Yeah.
So if something is priced in a way that, you know, 500 people get it that want it, right? Uh, and the other choice is to make more money and only get it to like 200 people. Like I want the maximum amount of people to get.
Yeah, because if this is their entry point and there's a
Yeah.
barrier to it, then you're not going to get to doing a second one, are you? So
Right.
Yeah.
I want the maximum amount of people, and that's why I'm conflicted about the digital copy too, because that is a good way to get. Because there's people who don't value it being a physical object, right? There's people under 30 who they just read digital on their
Yeah.
Kindle and they don't, you know. So I don't want to get those people cut out of it. So I'm thinking about what I'm doing, you know, because it's also a balancing act because I have to, you know, selling 500 copies is great for the brand and for the community, right? But if I'm selling 500 copies at 17 pounds or whatever, like it's not that's not going to make the artist as much money as selling less
No,
at
of course
a
not.
larger, you know. So it's a balancing act, and
Mhm.
that's why we're waiting and we're looking at how many people are signing up and like we'll adjusting according to that because there's two things: community and getting the creators what they should get, right? So I have right now, I have it live on the pre-registration page. Dave and I went over to Funko in Hollywood. I have the shirt on, it's a Funko shirt. We went over to Funko in Hollywood and they did a limited run of Tank Girl vinyl pops
Oh,
in
wow.
San Diego. And they have some left. So what we're doing is if you pre-register right now, we are going to give those away. We have 5 of them, and we will be giving them away to anyone who pre-registers and then backs it. You have to back it. You can't just pre-register and be entered in the drawing. I will see if you
Yeah,
back
you
it.
will know.
Trust me, I have all the data.
and see it through all the way to the end.
I will know. But I do have one right here. Actually, I'll show. This is
Oh man,
Tank
they
Girl.
look so cool.
There, it is very cool. I'll link to I'm on portrait mode, so it's like looking at my face, and there we go. But yeah, we have 5 of these ready to give away.
Amazing.
And
If you're really unlucky, you could get one of these.
yeah, you could get a Dave Elliott.
Oh, can you make custom ones there of yourselves? Is that
Yeah.
Oh, that's
You
brilliant.
can. Everyone made one except for me because I was busy wheeling and dealing about Tank Girl pops. I didn't have time. But if you go on the A1 Deadline Instagram, there are photos of our adventure at Funko because it was a very cool place. It felt like a little bit like a theme park. They were interactive.
I'm not a Funko fan. Like
Me neither.
it was so it was kind of like, and I actually just found myself in front of they have like it's like a big screen, and I just suddenly found myself started pressing and making a customized version, and then when this was the final version, I was
it's
like,
brilliant.
and I was like, okay.
It's perfect.
I normally wear red glasses, so it was like red frame glasses, so it was like, okay.
But Dave, there's actually a QR code on your receipt that we can make public on our Kickstarter page, and people can print their own. They can have Funko.
They can get their own Dave. No
a
way.
Dave Elliott.
Oh my lord,
Funko.
I've got to
the
get one.
receipt away, so
That'd be
okay.
fantastic.
It's on
Give
the
me all
receipt.
of these details and I'll put it in the video description. It'd be so
That's
funny.
it. They just scan the QR and then they can make another one.
So I think we've been through most things. Is there anything that I've missed? I mean, is there anything that you want to add to the A1 deadline legacy? What I mean, I know that I'm super excited all the time about this, you know, but I'm nervous that other people aren't going to be willing to take the risk on this book, because it is, like you say, very, very different. Even though I think the time is so right for a book like this. So I don't know. Are there going to be some sneak peeks, for example, leading up
yeah.
to
Yeah.
things, so people, like, you know, you take the risk, it's worth it, because that will be great.
Yeah, the Kickstarter will have artwork up on it where you can see some of the artwork. Yeah, and I'm sure
I'll
various
probably
websites.
we'll probably release a unlettered preview or a lettered preview. There's so much content in it. I'd love people to, you know, get that PDF that's a preview, and that could be something that, like, you know, Heidi gets that, and then Rich gets the trailer, and, you know, we divide and conquer the two countries, right, from each country, right? But yeah, I think, yeah, there's definitely going to be there's going to be I'm really good at it, mock-ups and stuff, and showing you exactly what you're buying. Like, you will know
He
exactly.
is.
It will be like
Excellent.
you are holding it. I make 3D models of books constantly. Like, it will be 100% representative of what you're going to get. I deal with sourcing manufacturers, printers, any kind of mock-up or representation. If I don't already have the thing in front of me, which I have some of the things in front of me already that will be on the campaign sitting on my desk here that you can't see, but they will be like to a T. And you will get measurements, specs, material information. I will tell the backers exactly what they're getting. It's completely transparent what you're going to get.
Yeah.
So,
I think
Fantastic.
that's and I think that I kind of we've said it already, but I just want to reiterate, like, we're going to be open and transparent to not just the creators we're working with, but to the community as well. So, like, you know, both, you know, we'll be accessible to people to reach out to get replies from. If they want to know information about how we do things, what we're doing, happy to share any of that information. I think one of the best things about it is, I hope you don't mind me promoting another podcast.
Do whatever you like. If it helps, A1 deadline, I've got no problem with it whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I'm doing a podcast with Al Mega of Comic Crusaders and Heidi McDonald of The Beat, and we're talking about, you know, the comics industry. It's kind of like peek behind the curtain type stuff, like how things fail, how things succeed, and it's like, you know, it's things that people just, you would never know, and I think that's important when, you know, giving the right advice to people, like when they're starting out, to help them achieve what they want to as a creator. It's like, well, you have to be honest with them. You can't sugarcoat it. You can't, like, so again, that's one of the things we want to do. We want to, like, help people be the best, whoever person they are, be that person rather than try to be something else.
That's fantastic. Well, I can link that as well, the home to the podcast, send people there as well, because that's invaluable. I wish I had a lot of information when I did my first book, because I did all the graphic design, the production side of it, the lettering, the putting it all together. And I didn't realize until that time just how much physical work there is just putting
Yeah.
it together, let alone writing the
yeah,
thing or drawing the thing. It's
right.
extensive. So
My life. I, yeah, I mean, my life, like, and just so you know, as far as an endorsement goes, for me, for Dave, and this whole project, I know it's my project now too, but even, I just want you, I make books, this will get made, this will be awesome. It will be substantial when you hold it in your hands. Last year, Mike, my boss, and I at Magnetic Press, we won Best Production Design at the Eisners. We are experts at making books, and half of that talent and experience is here with A1 Deadline. So I am going to go to the nines and squeeze out every drop of production quality that I can with this project. So, you know.
Not that you
I'm
needed to
serious,
convince
I'm
me,
serious.
but you've
I'm
convinced
as
me even
serious
more.
as a heart attack. Yeah, I'm serious. It'll look good. I want it to. Dave deserves it. Dave, really, I appreciate you bringing me on board this stuff, and I am bringing my A game to it for this community that's going to come.
Yeah,
So
no, it's something I couldn't do. Like without Chris, I wouldn't be able to do this.
Well, I was going to say, I guess it's a lot of pressure for Chris, but at the same time, I guess a lot of pressure for you because you're bringing something beloved back that you played a large part in too, and you've got all this legacy to balance. All this people, a lot of people are going to be watching what you do with this. There's a lot of responsibility to reviving something like Deadline. So I can understand how much love and time and effort is going into this. So I'm honestly, the second I found out, I honestly had to double look at it. I didn't think it was sure. I thought it was going to be the IP had been sold in some kind of auction and any old soul had picked it up and it was going to be another one of those industry pop outs. It comes out, it decides.
yeah,
But when I saw that you were involved, I was like, oh, okay, this is Deadline coming back.
we'll be doing. I know Monday I'll be lettering Allison's piece for this, which is a character that I really want to put in front. And it's a new thing, new generation, quote unquote, side of it. I will be lettering that piece of work on Monday on live stream. I do live stream working on things.
Oh, great.
So a bunch of them are going to be these A1 Deadline things. That's going to start on Monday. People can sit in while I'm lettering, building the books. This is how they can get a preview right now. If they're on that.
Well, we'll add another link in the description for that. That would be exciting.
Yeah,
I will surely watch that for sure.
Yeah, that will be on the A1 Instagram. It'll be shared on my personal, and it will also be shared on the Horrible Future Instagram, which has a big audience.
Okay.
So, we could drive people to Dave and the A1 Instagram. Great. I will answer questions. I sit there, I talk. People don't know what goes into a comic book. Like you said, a lot of even people I work with, the artists, they don't even know. They think you just drop the pages into a template and you hit print. It's so much more than that production. And I'm happy to go through it, show the story. I will talk about story and design and color theory, and I have knowledge about all these things. So when I live stream, it's a very good look at what this is.
And again, it reflects what you're trying to do with Deadline, which is show people to be creative.
I want them to hang out. Yeah, hang out.
Yeah,
hang out, talk. Yeah,
amazing.
That's all.
Honestly, I keep saying over and again, I am so excited. I am so excited for this. I wish you all the best with it. Any closing? Let's have some closing words. Is there anything else that you want to say before we depart?
I think we've covered. I think we've covered the just about everything. I don't want to sort of repeat things I've already said a couple of times already. I want to thank you for just allowing us to come on, and congrats. You've really started to grow your channel really well, and
yeah,
it's such wonderful content.
Thank you. I'm trying. I'm learning.
You're learning, but I'm subscribed to you. I have my alerts set to see how you're doing.
Yeah, it's been fun. It's been fun.
I love seeing someone just do something and actually do it.
And passionate
Because
about
there's
it.
so many people that just start and stop everything. I always say it's a personality type. It's a certain personality type that starts something and finishes it. And I'm the personality type that starts and finishes things. I have to. It's my job, right? Production manager. But I've always been like that since I was a kid. It's like a type of person. So to see your channel, you just keep going and going, and then there's a video, there's a video, there's a video, there's a video. Sometimes you're by yourself, sometimes you have your friends helping you. It's just you're pushing, and I really respect it.
Oh, thank
And
you. I appreciate that.
I actually know more about what's going on in comics now, even though my whole day is comic books because of your channel.
I appreciate it. Thank you. I'll be honest, when you
I know
guys
how they're
contacted
messing
me,
up Batman or whatever, right? Now I know.
Yeah.
everyone needs to know.
I have a personal investment in you. That's why I think it's cool that you're doing this, right? So this
Hmm.
comes back to community. Like
Oh,
I would
thank you.
not care about what was going on in Batman unless I
Oh,
knew that you cared and it's what's making you grow your thing that you're trying really hard to do. So
I,
I'm part of your community now.
Yeah.
So
I love that. It's that synergy between the thing is, I am very much that person type that if I start something, I have to finish it. But I'm also the person that says someone says I can't do something, I have to prove them wrong by doing it. And I was at when I
that's the
was
spirit.
when the video
Yes.
came up with me talking about A1, you contacted me. I was at this stage where I'm thinking, this isn't about that anymore. It's something that like I'm never going to be an astronaut. So there's a point where you've got to say this, I can't do this. This isn't going to work for me. But that little email popping through of you guys being excited about me being excited was like, well, do you know what then? I am going to do this. I am going to start
Yeah.
taking it seriously. I'm going to do it because if I'm going to do an interview with these guys, I don't want 133 subscribers watching it. I want over 1,000. So I thought I'm going to make it happen. So I've been absolutely going like the clappers trying to build this channel just to
Yeah,
just to sort of because I want to, but just to
And
show
you've done
that
it.
respect for you guys that when you do land on here, you know, it's not just some oh well, you haven't done much with your channel, guys. So I felt I owed it to you. So you helped in some part, just like when I was a kid at 13, you know, reading Deadline for the first time,
I'm happy
changing
to
my
do it.
perspectives and giving me that sort of next step evolution in my brain. So I thank you guys too. So it's been amazing. It's been a journey. I've learned so much about YouTube, and again, it's like creating comic books. Before I thought, well, you just sit there and talk, right? It's easy. And I thought, and then the first time you look into a camera on your own in the quiet, and there's this black lens there. You just
Yeah.
this cold sweat starts. It's so hard. So I was like, wow, oh my god. So yeah, I really respect
You hear that,
creative people.
everybody? Subscribe to this guy.
Yes, please do. Now, I respect creatives because I
He cares
understand.
about what he's doing.
Yeah,
You
I
should
do.
support him.
I just want
Yeah.
people to read good comics. That's all, and I want to skip all the junk. So that's why.
I'm trying to make him.
Okay, so guys, you're going to give me all the details for your socials, for the
Yep.
Kickstarter, for your podcasts. I'm going to put them in the description. This has been an absolute pleasure for me. I wish this project success. I hope it turns into a quarterly, a monthly, whatever happens. I hope it's amazing. It's got two of the best guys backing it behind it. So I doubt this is going to fail. So thank you so much, guys. I really, really appreciate you coming on.
Oh no, thank you, Angelo.
Thank you.
You're a star,
Amazing.
mate.
No worries. Right, guys, don't forget, if you want more interviews, like, subscribe, all that jazz. But check out Deadline, and hopefully we'll see you in the next one.